Part 4. What leaders must relearn. Rebuilding leadership for a nonlinear world. After unlearning comes the harder work, relearning. The real work begins when leaders must relearn, not by collecting new jargon, but by rebuilding their leadership from first principles. Because once you stop relying on experience as certainty, hierarchy as order, control as competence, intuition as strategy, you need something stronger to replace them. Part 4 of this course is about what replaces the old model, not motivationally, mechanically. Let's take a look at the new leadership equation. In the industrial age, leadership could be summarized as authority plus experience plus control equals performance. In the AI era, a more accurate equation is clarity plus learning velocity plus decision architecture plus trust equals performance. Notice what disappears. Control as the centerpiece. Notice what appears. Trust, learning, and system design. This is the shift. Let's delve into 10 relearning as fundamentals to lead with AI. 1. From certainty to probability. Leaders have been trained socially and professionally to project certainty. A leader who says, "I don't know," is often treated as weak. But AI-era environments are probabilistic by nature. Markets are volatile. Customer behavior shifts rapidly. Technology changes quickly, and risk is distributed. In such conditions, certainty is usually a performance, not a truth. Relearning here means becoming comfortable with probability-based leadership. Here's what we think is likely. Here are the scenarios we're preparing for. Here's the risk we're willing to take and why. Here's what we'll do if we're wrong. This doesn't reduce leadership, it strengthens it. Because mature leadership isn't pretending you can predict the world. It's building an organization that can move intelligently even when you can't. Second, relearning. Treat strategy as a living system, not a document. Most organizations still treat strategy as a document, created annually, approved by committees, turned into PowerPoint, and executed as a plan. In the AI era, this becomes fragile because AI shifts the basis of advantage from static positioning to continuous sensing and adaptation. Relearning strategy means treating it as a living system, fed by real-time signals, adjusted through experimentation, refined through feedback loops, and updated as conditions change. Instead of asking, "What is our 3-year plan?" leaders must relearn to ask, "What are we learning this quarter? What assumptions are being challenged by data? What experiments are we running right now? What are customers doing today that they weren't doing 90 days ago?" This is not chaos, it is adaptive discipline. Third, relearning. Leading through questions, not answers. AI makes answers abundant, which makes the ability to ask better questions the differentiator. Leaders must relearn question-based leadership as a craft. There are levels of questions. It starts with surface questions. What happened? What are the numbers? Then you have insight questions. Why did it happen? What patterns do we see? Then strategic questions, such as, what does this mean for our positioning? What should we stop doing? And then the existential questions. What business are we really in now? What assumptions are dying? What are we becoming? AI can help with surface and insight questions. Leaders must own strategic and existential questions. This is where human leadership becomes irreplaceable, not in computation, but in meaning. Fourth, relearning process is orchestration over control. Control assumes you can predict. Orchestration assumes you cannot. Orchestration means setting direction, clearly defining guardrails, ensuring alignment on principles, enabling autonomy and execution, and creating fast learning loops. In orchestration, the leader is less like a commander and more like a conductor, a systems architect, and a designer of conditions. It is not hands-off leadership, it is higher-order leadership. You don't micromanage the moves, you design the environment where good moves become natural. Fifth, relearn decision architecture as a core leadership skill. In many organizations, decisions happen by habit. Whoever shouts loudest wins, whoever is senior wins, the hippo's opinion wins, meaning highest paid person's opinion. The decisions bounce between committees, accountability is unclear, and data is used selectively. AI intensifies the cost of this dysfunction because AI can generate options faster than organizations can decide what to do with them. So leaders must relearn leadership as decision architecture. Who decides what, on what inputs, with what review, with what accountability, with what ethics? This is one of the most underdiscussed yet critical aspects of AI-era leadership. A well-designed decision system uses AI insights intelligently, avoids blind trust in models, prevents political distortion of data, speeds up execution, and protects against ethical drift. Poor decision systems turn AI into noise. Sixth relearning. Trust as a strategic asset. Trust used to be nice to have. In the AI era, trust becomes a competitive advantage because AI changes what people fear. Employees fear replacement, customers fear surveillance, regulators fear misuse, and society fears unfairness. Organizations that lead with trust will adopt AI faster, retain talent, maintain customer loyalty, avoid reputational crises, and navigate regulations smoothly. Trust is built through transparency. Here's how we use AI accountability. Here's who owns outcomes. Fairness, we don't outsource ethics. Competence, we know what we're doing. Leaders must relearn that trust is not a soft value, it is a strategic infrastructure. Seventh, relearn talent as capability renewal, not headcount. Most leaders were trained to manage talent as headcount, roles, reporting lines, performance reviews, and succession planning. AI requires a shift. Talent becomes about capability renewal because the organization's skills will decay faster now. Relearning talent leadership means building continuous learning systems, reskilling at scale, hiring for adaptability, not just credentials, redesigning roles around human-AI collaboration, and shifting performance metrics to include learning and experimentation. A leader's job is no longer simply to manage people, it is to keep the organization's capabilities alive. Eighth, relearn culture as the organization's learning engine. In part 3, we unlearned culture is soft. Now we relearn what culture actually is. Culture is a system of learned behaviors, and AI rewards certain behaviors while punishing others. AI rewards cultures that share information, experiment safely, admit uncertainty, learn quickly, and collaborate across silos. AI punishes cultures that hide problems, punish mistakes, reward politics, hoard data, and treat learning as weakness. So the culture work is not slogans. It is structural. What gets rewarded, what gets promoted, what gets punished, and what gets celebrated. Leaders relearn culture by treating it like an operating system. Update it deliberately, debug it regularly, and protect it aggressively. Ninth, relearn ethics as operational practice, not corporate messaging. AI will tempt organizations to treat ethics as branding. Publish a policy, create a committee, use big words, and move on. But ethics in AI must become an operational discipline. Bias reviews, data governance, model accountability, transparent decision logs, escalation protocols, and human override mechanisms. Leaders must relearn that ethics is not an add-on. It is part of the architecture. The organizations that treat ethics as operational will win long-term because they'll sustain trust when others face backlash. 10th, relearn. Leading in public, not just in the boardroom. AI is not purely internal. It is now societal. Customers, employees, regulators, and communities increasingly want to know, how are you using AI? Are you replacing people? Are you surveilling us? Are your decisions fair? Leaders must relearn leadership as public stewardship, communicating clearly, explaining choices, owning consequences, and protecting human dignity. In the AI era, the leader is not only accountable to shareholders, the leader is accountable to society. These are the relearning about rebuilding the fundamentals. And what we rebuild is this: a leader who can guide an organization through a world where intelligence is everywhere, certainty is rare, change is constant, trust is fragile, and ethics is unavoidable. This leader is not defined by charisma, authority, and control. This leader is defined by clarity, learning speed, system design, and a principled spine. Now we're ready for the next step, because relearning the mindset is not enough. Leaders must also develop a new skill stack, practical competencies for working with AI, governing it, and leading human AI organizations. That is the next part, the part 5 of this course on leadership and AI.